Good morning, everyone. Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. Hopefully, I can get through the whole intro today before the internet smashes the connection. But that's Sky Broadband for you. Hey, how you doing, Sky? Fuck you. Welcome in to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads or youtube.com/Ice Cream Uploads or Spotify or Amazon Music or wherever you may be watching and listening to this podcast. My name is Graham Day and I'm joined by the man that we call BB.
Hello.
Ooh,
How are we doing, Graham?
I just got an email. If you heard an email noise, that was me. That wasn't you. Let me just nerf that. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. For those that were in for the pre-show, we did mention Tito's face is on a mug next to Bib. We did mention that Tito's face is behind me on a cushion. We did also mention a coffee brand, but we're not going to mention Nescafe Gold again. Fuck! So yeah, there you go. If you were in the pre-show, that'll make sense. If you're watching or listening to this on demand, just go with it. It's fine. It's only weird if you don't embrace it. Anyway, my name is Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads in true Ice Cream fashion. This is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, if we do say so ourselves. We are live right now on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, where we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. It's 3 minutes since I asked Bibby this question, but what time is it now, Bib?
It's 49 minutes past the 10th seed.
Nice. 10:49, which is absolutely definitely 100% 10 a.m.-ish. Anyway, it's not just about the live stream on Twitch. Please do feel free to get involved. We will give you the biggest, the best, the breaking stories from the world of video games, plus our thoughts and impressions, but we want to hear your thoughts and impressions, and then your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. That's kind of how the whole thing works. So please do feel free to get involved, though, because even though we are live on Twitch, the live stream is turned into a podcast, a video on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Nope, not that one. Amazon Music and Google Play. Sorry, SoundCloud. Sorry, not anymore. Not anymore. You're just too expensive and don't really give us anything apart from fake numbers. But it is what it is. You use it if you want. Before we jump into the show, I want to shout out. Actually, I didn't actually say make sure you get involved, because there's over 200,000 people that have watched and listened to our podcast across all of those platforms. So if you are going to get involved in the news, please do. Please feel free to do that. But before we jump into anything, I want to remind people that we have a loot drop running every month, and it's running right now. So the first Monday of the month, you can bag yourself a prize just for being a sub to the channel. This month, Batman Dan won that, and I actually haven't responded to him. So he's come back to us now. He would like a copy of... what did he say it was?
The new Jedi game.
Jedi Survivor, that was it. So he wants to pre-order Jedi Survivor, which we can sort. We just need to look into getting that to him, but it's fine. But anyone else that wants to sub to the channel, if you sub now, you will be a sub on the first Monday of next month, which means you will be in the loot drop and you will be in a chance with winning a prize, which could be a piece of ICU merch like the blackout baseball caps that me and Pip are both wearing. Nice. Or a game of your choice like Batman Dad 1. So please do feel free to get involved. Also, shout out to GT Omega, !GT Omega in the chat, or !Chair. Two different links. GT Omega is the general one. Chair is the one for my chair / Bibby's chair that we have at home. These are the new Zio chairs that I'm sat on. I'm pointing to it, but you can't see because my hands, the screen's and stuff in the way. Nice. Also, Bibby is sat. I don't think we've mentioned this much on stream, but Bibby is sat in the Pro XL chair. So, like, if you were going to tier the GT Mega chairs, you start off with the Pro and your Sports, and then you get, like, your Elements and stuff like that. The Zio is, like, the bad boy, ergonomic one, but Bibby is sat in the Pro XL. So if you're tiering that's in kind of close to the bottom of the tiers, but my God, that chair is so comfortable, because the Pro XL has a fabric option, and it's like an actual cloud.
Yeah, the fabric's the way to go. Like, I'm not impressed with leather chairs anymore, Graham. I feel like I'm getting too old. My ass gets too sweaty. It's all about the fabric, and the fabric is an absolute game changer in these chairs. You could definitely sit on these a hell of a lot longer than you can on leather chairs, in my personal experience as well. So yeah, I'm going fabric nowadays, and my God, my ass feels like it's sitting on a cloud, if it could ever sit on a cloud.
Yeah, you fall through it, but I get the meaning. I said the same thing too about it being a cloud, but it's fine if you forget logic. Like I said, it's only weird if you don't embrace it. Let's go. But yeah, 100%. Those chairs, by the way, badass. This chair also badass, but you could standard. You get that right. Oh, B3 is in the chat. Precision is in. Good morrow, gentlemen. How are you doing? How do, sir? I blame Iceman for wishing for a later stream for it going down. Yeah, didn't want to say anything. Didn't want to say it. You could get the blue one that Precision has. Oh, it's a beauty. Oh, which have you got a GT Omega one, Precision? You got a GT Omega, mate? Give me the details. Did you get one of the The Pez League ones.
He did. There was pictures of him sat outside Arsenal Stadium
Waiting
on it, because I think he had to get on a bus, didn't he, with it?
I seem to remember. The I see you hats. Okay, I get you. One of these bad boys over here. Whoosh. Yeah, I seem to remember like there was conversations about Precision being on the train back up to Glasgow with the chair. Did you take it on the train or not? I can't remember how you did it. How you diddled it. What did you diddled? Nice. I switched from the leather chairs a while back. Bibby did warn me about potential swan pass on fabric. How the turntables.
I don't remember that conversation because I always thought it was the other way around. And you need that breathable fabric.
I mean, I've always been a fabric person in general. Like, if I get in a couch, we've got kind of like a leather couch downstairs, but that was like necessity. We had Chloe, we have now a puppy and stuff, so it was like, but our next couch is definitely going to be fabric. Because obviously, there's always the danger of spillage and shit, but I want the danger of falling asleep because it's comfy as fuck as well, so I don't really get that on a leather one. But when it comes to gaming chairs, like previously, I've always gone for black leather because it's easy, wipe down, comfortable and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why I'm like in my brain I was like easy wipe down and stuff like that. Whenever I'm playing video games, I'm like, yeah, I want to sit on a couch. Oh yeah, I want a comfy seat. Or if I'm sat in an office chair, it's like, yeah, I want something ergonomic or whatever. So I always was like just tuned into that bucket seat leather style. But now, yeah, trying the XL fabric. And this, which is obviously, this is a mesh sort of fabric. You can't see because my hoodie's on it, but this is a mesh sort of fabric. It's good. It's good. Recommend. Anyway, that's not a spawn. That's not an ad. We've not brought you here just to talk about our sponsors and stuff. That was just us shouting out because the chairs are really good. But anyway, we'll put a pin in that. I got a fly and fish packed it and sent it up. Nice.
That's
nice.
great.
I want a single-seater sofa for streaming, if I'm not honest. Well, Pistol Mike has like full-on remote controlled recliner, big bad boy chair. He just sits there and just goes like, well, I'll show you on my chair because I can do it as well. He just goes, ugh. Oh gosh, this is the life. This is how we do the scoop now, babe, right?
Yes, Graham.
Nice. Okay, back in the room. So yeah, do feel free to check out GT Mega if you're interested in shares. Use code ICU at checkout. You will save yourself. It varies anywhere from 5 to 15% depending on if the sales are anything on or anything. So do feel free to use it. You don't have to, but if you do, it does support us. Hashtag ad. Easy wipe down seats, tissues and moisturizer by his station, and he has a PlayStation. We all know why. I don't have moisturizer actually. I did have sanitizer. That's not quite the same thing, but I don't use moisturizer. Don't need moisturizer, mate. It's just not for me. Not for me. I know everyone should moisturize, but nah, it's not for me. I can't use it. I use it and my skin feels oily and shit, so I have to wash it straight off. But you were right on everything else, so I'll give you that one. I end up swapping between my gaming chair and the end of my bed whilst gaming. I just have an office chair. Office chair's a good shout. You can't go wrong. It's built for, I mean, if it, obviously, a lot of them are just to sit you in front of your desk, but obviously it's got the ergonomic stuff in then yeah, nice. Anyway, Bib.
Yes.
Did you know 10 years is enough time for PlayStation to create a Call of Duty competitor?
I mean, ask Killzone, ask Mag.
Who they?
Exactly, Graham. Who are they?
Exactly. Well, that's what Microsoft says. And it's almost as if Microsoft is looking to buy Call of Duty and offer 10 years of access to that to PlayStation. Interesting. Well, that's the first story. Microsoft is obviously naturally hitting. Actually, is that the first story?
That is a lead story. Yeah.
Nice. I thought I'd asked and then some reason thought, wait, maybe I didn't. Nice. Then, oh, fuck. Cookies, buttons and stuff popping up. Get out of here. Then we'll jump into the articles that we had on yesterday. We'll talk about Respawn opening a new studio, Netflix having 40 new games, and then we'll finish with a good one. This bar will give you free drinks if you get a Warzone 2 nuke. It's been a while since I've seen one of those stories. I remember, like, if you can get a Victory Royale in Fortnite, there's a pub in Huddersfield called the Warehouse. That's where I used to go, right near the university. And yeah, if you get a Victory Royale in Fortnite, they'd give you like a full round of drinks for free for your table. Like it was like limited to 4 or something like that. But that was in the days where if you got a victory royale, people were high-fiving, like getting a dub in PUBG. Fuck yeah!
People are cheering you.
Whereas now it's like, oh, you've got another one. Your 6th one of the afternoon, is it? Oh, nice. It's great, yeah. Lovely. I have 0 nukes. Same. I barely get wins, let alone nukes. Okay. Same. We'll come back to that, though. For now, though, we'll start off with this one. Shunal Doke at Gaming Bolt says, 10 years is enough time for PlayStation to create a Call of Duty competitor. Quote from Microsoft. So Microsoft is arguing against Sony's claims of the importance of Call of Duty by pointing out that Sony can make its own competitor to the shooter franchise. Do you know what? Why didn't everyone else just think of making a better Call of Duty? That's actually a really good point. There you go. If only Sony would have thought of that. Get out of here, advertisements. So, in response to Sony touting the importance of the Call of Duty franchise to PlayStation, Microsoft has said in a new statement to the UK's CMA, that's the Competition and Markets Authority, about its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, that it believes Sony will be able to make a competitor to the Call of Duty franchise in 10 years, as reported by VGC. Microsoft has stated that it's been willing to sign a deal with Sony to bring Call of Duty games for the next 10 years to the PlayStation platform. The company has also stated that a decade is enough time, considering Sony's position as a major publisher and platform owner, to create its own competitor to Call of Duty. Excuse me. Quote, at the Remedies hearing, the CMA asked Microsoft if the 10-year duration is sufficient and whether there would be a cliff edge for Sony at the end of this period. The 10-year period is redacted, Microsoft said in a statement. That's great. I love that quote. Nice. Microsoft considers that a period of 10 years is sufficient for Sony as a leading publisher and console platform to develop alternatives to COD. Continuing that quote, the 10-year term will extend into the next console generation, redacted. Moreover, the practical effect of the remedy will go beyond the 10-year period, since games downloaded in the final year of the remedy can continue to be played for the lifetime of that console and beyond with backwards compatibility. Throughout its hearings with various regulatory bodies on the acquisition, one of Sony's main arguments has been the importance of Call of Duty games to the sales of PlayStation consoles, and that giving Microsoft so much control over the franchise through its acquisition of Activision Blizzard would hurt competition in the gaming market. Nice. So, just make another Call of Duty. You've got 10 years. Easy dubs. Is it that easy? What are your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, it's clearly not, because many have tried, and many is using the word failed appropriate, because I don't think it is, because there have been a lot of good FPS games in their own right. They just can't capture the magic in the bottle that COD has, despite what people might think of COD nowadays, being a tired franchise, and obviously bringing back the likes of Modern Warfare to try and inject some life back into the franchise again. Because let's be honest, truth time, the franchise wasn't necessarily dying, but its reputation was starting to just dip a little bit. The player base was starting to dip a little bit. Obviously, with the likes of Warzone coming into people's lives, into the Battle Royale segment, and then rebooting Modern Warfare, having two really, really successful launches with those two games. Obviously, it's brought it back into... this is arguably its biggest heyday since the original Modern Warfare franchise. I don't think that's controversial. I think that's probably a fact at this point. But having the likes of Battlefield just on a downward trajectory, they haven't really put up a fight against it. PlayStation themselves have obviously had to retire the likes of MAG. If no one ever played MAG back in the day, it was a fantastic game. In light of what Call of Duty was providing, probably didn't hit the mark, which is obviously why the franchise never continued. And the likes, but as I've just mentioned, Battlefield not really putting up a fight against it. You've got things like Halo that are falling over pretty much straight away, having 6-month battle passes with no content and things like that. They aren't really doing much to, keep the player base there. It's very difficult to have a AAA first person or even third person shooter that are bringing people back every single year with different topics. You can't compete with Call of Duty. I don't know what Call of Duty needs to do now to be able to technically kill itself. Having no updates is probably the quickest way of being able to do that, and just leaving it as it is with all the money coming in through microtransactions. But they keep on doing stuff like what Fortnite are doing, where they are constantly adding new stuff to the game, whether that's through map placements or through different standalone games that are coming out, like the Modern Warfares and things like that. I don't know what they need to do to stop the pace of this juggernaut that is Call of Duty. No, I don't think there is another game out there that could technically compete with what Call of Duty are putting out there. So to say that within 10 years you're able to create a game, there's a reason why there hasn't been anyone that's been able to put a glove next to it. There's a reason why, if it was that easy, there isn't more than 2 football games with eFootball and FIFA out there. If everyone can do it, someone would have done it by now. We've obviously got the likes of Goals and UFL and all the other arcade football games that are going to be coming out at some point, but arguably they aren't going to touch the top 2, which is obviously is and has been for nearly 30 years at this point with eFootball and FIFA. So yeah, I am excited what the future is going to hold for FPSs in people trying to get close to what Call of Duty have been doing for the longest time. But when people ask for recommended FPSs, there's only one name that comes out there, and that's Call of Duty. Nobody else is getting close.
Yeah, and this is coming from a podcast where the two hosts are big fans of Battlefield. Battlefield has had some better peaks in its history, but for the most part, it hasn't been great in 10 years. So they've had 10 years to get better than Call of Duty, and still are miles off the pace because there's multiple different things. I mean, she's going to catch up with the chat first. Iceman says, I'm getting Bender vibes. I'll make my own COD with blackjack and hookers. Nice. Cookies, good morning or evening or afternoon or whatever time it is for you. It'll be earlier, right? Earlier. Pause, please. I'm with Baby. Lol. Good day and hope all are well. Can't wait for the VOD on this one.
Thank you.
Thank you for dropping in. Problem is, no matter what anyone can come up with, COD has the longevity. It's been around so long and a powerhouse for so long that it's now very difficult to knock off its perch, says Iceman. Timeless says PUBG 2, Kappa. Need to wait to see what Dead Drop brings, says Precision. Timeless says extraction shooters seem to be gaining popularity. Maybe that's the new gamer's shooter of choice. Mimsy, welcome into the stream. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. COD is garbage. It was and always will be. It's not some kind of great game. I disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree. I mean, don't get me wrong. COD does get a lot of overhype, as does any form of fad or trend. Some people will put any game on a pedestal because
market lead in games as well.
Yeah. So like Fortnite gets told it's trash because it doesn't really do anything and it copied other people's ideas. I mean, it's not an objective fact. It's a subjective opinion, and it's not a wrong opinion because that's where the subjectiveness comes in. Some people disliking Fortnite because it's just cartoony. It's just it's whatever the reasons is. Fortnite is a phenomenal success because at its core, it's a very great idea, actioned ridiculously well. Whether they came up with that idea or just pinched it at the last minute to save a game that was a bit mediocre, horses for courses. It still is where it is. And Call of Duty 4 was absolutely groundbreaking. And then through that period where you got the World at Wars and the Modern Warfare 2s and so on, it was market leading 100%. It was an exceptional game. And I'm saying this from someone that played that game intensely, hours, months, weeks, years of my life, and then went back to
that was our teenage years, though, wasn't it? Like that was the fad back then, like it is nowadays with kids with Fortnite and Minecraft. That is their Call of Duty. That is their Modern Warfare days.
I think you are right, apart from the word kids there, because Fortnite obviously was it had Premier League footballers and NBA stars and whatever doing emotes and stuff because they were playing it as well, because it was new. It wasn't just rinse and repeat TDM. But that's rinse and repeat TDM is talking about TDM as a negative. TDM, by the way, just in case you're not a shooter player, is team deathmatch, where you usually get a bunch of people, maybe 6 or so versus another 6, and you keep killing each other until one team gets the most kills and wins. Job's good. But even that when you go back to Call of Duty 4 was groundbreaking. Being able to do search and destroy in TDM, talking about it as a negative now is talking about it with hindsight. At that point in time, it broke a barrier and gave people gameplay experience that didn't exist. And Call of Duty does that, and it is doing that right now with Battle Royale, although it's not quite fresh because they have evolved on someone else's idea, but they've still evolved with it. It's all about marketing, not gaming anymore. Best market game will be held at best in cheap size. I mean, that's a very, very good point. But what would you say is the best game then? So to counter that, it's easy to say that it's not the best game, it's the best marketed. But what is the best game? Because that's another subjective opinion there. So I do agree it is the best marketed. What the fuck? Gagad, thank you very much for 30 months, dude. Your name is Optimus Prime. Thank you very much, dude.
Nice one, mate. Yeah, well, I mean, that goes with everything, right? Like, I don't think McDonald's is the best fast food takeaway out there, but they're a company that they don't need to advertise, but they do. Same with Coca-Cola. They don't need to advertise, but they still do. Usually around Christmas time, if we're being honest, because obviously when you see the big red lorry, you know it's Christmas time. But arguably, these companies don't need to. Yeah, they don't need to market. Same with Call of Duty.
Sorry.
They don't need to market it, but they tend to get the biggest streamers at the time come to their launch events, which does the marketing for them, essentially.
The thing is, though, is McDonald's is actually an exceptional comparison there, because is McDonald's burger the best burger that you're ever going to eat? I'm not specifying any specific one. Is a McDonald's burger the best burger you're going to eat? No. Do you enjoy it? I mean, you might not do, but me, fuck yeah, I love a McDonald's burger. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best burger I'm ever going to eat, but I judge it differently. It's something quick and dirty that I can pick up and play. And for me, and for a lot of people, that is what Call of Duty is. It might not be the best experience, the most emotive experience, the best storyline or zero storyline in certain games and so on. But it's something that you know... Oh... Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. My birthday is December the 3rd, by the way, just in case anyone didn't know that. So for me, McDonald's isn't the best out there, but it's super accessible. I know what I'm getting. I can count on it to be exactly what I'm expecting it to be.
And to be everywhere. Yeah. Like, you can't really go less than a mile without seeing a McDonald's, especially around Manchester.
And you know, Call of Duty is everywhere, pretty much every platform. You can play with all of your mates have already got it, so that's the accessibility. And that's where Call of Duty comes from, because it's not just about being the best game. It's about the infrastructure and the ability to be more agile than any other game out there. And that's talking about extraction shooters. We've got looter shooters. We've got your Tarkovs and stuff like that. Okay, Call of Duty. We'll build one of them in Call of Duty. Okay, we've got Battle Royales. We've got your Fortnites and your Apexes. Oh, we'll build one of them in Call of Duty. Bosh. You've got games that have waves of enemies coming at you non-stop and to see how far you can get. Oh, we've already built one of those in Call of Duty about 10 years ago, so we've got one of those as well. We can throw that in when we need it. Plus, obviously... other modes like Search and Destroy, if you want that little bit of a CSGO fix, obviously, massive difference in caliber there. But Call of Duty has the ability to expand more than any other game out there. Because adding things like TDM, Search and Destroy, and different game modes into a multiplayer is one thing, and a bunch of developers will be able to do that. But being able to do that cross-platform... at the same time as bringing in multiple other games. So working on a battle royale is a battle royale is a full-time game. Working on a looter shooter is an extraction shooter is a full-time thing. Whereas Call of Duty does all of that at the same time. So the point for 10 years is enough time to create a new Call of Duty competitor. All of the points that we've said in this chat across Mimsy and so on, let me jump back up again. I don't think it's garbage, but I do think it's a victim of most games that reach the status it has. There's a certain lack of innovation, as it simply doesn't need to. Innovation needs investment and doesn't need to financially, but the menus are pure trash. The menus are shit. The menus are shit. But also, there's the danger that innovation... when innovation for the sake of innovation is poor innovation. Like, if you're innovating just to innovate so that you're seen as not standing still, that is a problem in itself. The flip side of that is innovation causes stress. If you change things in players don't like that change if it's unnecessary. So Call of Duty arguably has innovated quite a bit. Like, they have a free-to-play version of their game that was 70 quid just a few years ago, and the two worked well-ish together and now work well a lot better together, as they've had a trial run of working with that across, like, Black Ops, Cold War, and so on. And now Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone work better together. So they are innovating, they are changing, but it's more of a larger scale change, systemic changes, rather than actually micro in-game changes. But that I feel is probably the best focus for them right now, because 10 years is enough time to make a Call of Duty competitor. Fortnite didn't exist 6 years ago.
Fucking hell, size of this moth.
Fucking hell, size of that moth. Bloody hell. All right, 12. I didn't even need to look at the chat to see who that was. Fortnite didn't exist 6 years ago, and that is a Call of Duty competitor. But how many Fortnites exist? And I'm not about that specifically about Fortnite. How many games that didn't exist 6 years ago can arguably be called as true pound-for-pound competitors with Call of Duty? Yo! E.T. Nice. There isn't. PUBG, arguably, is one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. And arguably has huge numbers of players on PC, particularly in Asia, but it doesn't have what Epic has, which is the full shopfront publishing arm and everything that Epic has behind it, plus engines with Unreal and so on that can prop it up. It's the fact that it's such a multifaceted business that it can make a game that is just destined to survive in that sort of sense because it hit a niche first. So for PlayStation to have a Call of Duty competitor, there needs to be a new extraction shooter or a new battle royale. There needs to be a new subgenre of FPS to come along for PlayStation to capitalize on first, or to create first, ideally, for them to have a true competitor to Call of Duty. Because if extraction battle royale, I mean, that's kind of what Tarkov is, but let's say that's the thing, that someone merges the two together and creates this brand new game mode. Call of Duty can make that in 2 years. We saw that. Within 1 year they had Blackout, and within 2 years we had Warzone. So not any other game, there is no other developer that is that agile. So
let's not forget they've just added DMZ to the game as well, because on console there isn't that many extraction shooters that are out there. Obviously, Precision mentioned Dead Drop, Dr. Disrespect's game that's going to be coming out. Snapshot 5 got released over last weekend, and they did a big conference over it, and you're actually still able to play that now. But that's for PC. Not everyone has a gaming PC. People predominantly are using their console as their main gaming output. Like, they're not able to jump into gaming on a PC side of things, which the likes of Escape from Tarkov obviously exists on that platform. It doesn't exist on your home console. So if you haven't got a gaming PC, you're missing out on what Escape from Tarkov is. And in the extraction shooter genre, I think it's probably the market leading. We've got games like Vigor or whatever you want to pronounce it like.
Vigor.
Yeah, but DMZ, I was shouting about that when it first came out because I thought that was a fantastic, fantastic game mode that probably is now starting to get the rewards that I think it deserved back then, because I've obviously had time to be able to tweak it and finesse it and add some more stuff to it. A lot more YouTubers and streamers are picking up that mode now as like a change of pace from just playing in Warzone, which seems to be at an all-time high of hackers. So yeah, they have got the innovation that can go, okay, well, we need something like this. How long will it take us to be able to put something together? It might be 12 months, it might be 24 months, but they're not stupid. They're looking around and seeing what's popular and trying to put that kind of thing into their game. Like, it's the easiest way for them to, one, have stay the market leader, two, make a shitload of money off of the back of it, and three, stay relevant on the likes of Twitch, on the likes of YouTube, having people be able to create positive content about those game modes. Like, yeah, it's a very easy thing for them to be able to do. But this is the reason why they are a market leader, and how stupid the statement of you've got 10 years, make another game. There's still, we've been 20 years going toe to toe with Call of Duty, and I've seen Mimsy say that the indie companies make way better games than AAA games. Do you know what? On the basis of what we've seen over the last 3 years, I kind of agree with that. However, they will never be in the same conversation because of the money and the exposure that they get.
Yeah.
Like, there is a reason why a lot of these AAA companies or publishers are picking up indie companies to try and bring them into first parties. But that won't happen with every single brand. It won't happen with every single game.
It's not the correct answer or a statement, but it's also not incorrect. Once again, it's subjective. Indie games have smaller budgets, so have less riding on them to be successful, so therefore have more freedom to explore new avenues and try new things. AAA requires so much resources, thousands of people working on them, billions of dollars, that games have to be successful. If not, one failure can collapse a AAA company. That's the reason why you get sequels rather than innovation. That's the reason why things like The Last of Us are held so highly, because that was them being PlayStation at that point in time, going out and going, fuck it, we'll try something new. Boom. Huge single-player story game where everyone was going, single player's dead, multiplayer is the future. So yeah, indie games do give you brand new experiences. If you're interested in brand new experiences, then that for you is a good statement that indie games are better. Or what was it exactly that you said? It's gone now. Indie companies make better games. If you're interested in new experiences, that's probably a statement that's true for you. But I'm interested in AAA blockbuster bombastic stuff as well. So in that sense, some indie games cut through, and I think, yeah, that's really good. But sometimes I think, this would be nice if it was fucking loud and blah, blah, blah. But it depends. Once again, subjective. Let me jump back up through the comments. Heading into a meeting, have a good scoop. Don't tell me what to do, Tito. But have a good meeting.
I'm just going to come back to one more point before we move on with that one. In regards to indie games, obviously Among Us is the biggest one that's happened in like the last 24 months. I don't think, realistically, they always make the best multiplayer games. I think the story of an indie game is always way better than the multiplayer part of that game. Always happy to receive examples of this, but when it comes to indie games, usually I end up playing the single-player versions of indie games rather than the multiplayer aspects that they get put out there. I don't think that they don't have the server capacity or the server knowledge to be able to put something together where it's as flawless as most AAA games are. I say flawless, less buggy, shall we say. But yeah, I feel like having an indie company come in and write a story that they believe in rather than someone chirping down the race saying they have to include this, they have to include this.
You need a season pass. You need multiplayers always on. It needs to be cross-platform and so on. So you do get that, like... But usually those games get snapped up. So like a Rocket League, indie, not polyphonic. That was the ringtone. Whatever. Not polyphony digital. That's whatever. Just phonic. No, Illphonic's a different one. Whatever. Whoever made Rocket League, they got bought up, as did Fall Guys, all by Epic, because they were great indie experiences that could be made even bigger and better by having access to what AAA offers. So
it's a Dragon's Den situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You start off your business, you do well, you start to bring some money in, you start to have conversations with supermarkets. Once you go into the den with all that information and they can see some sort of profit making expenditure, is that if that's a word, based off of that product, then
Psionics.
Obviously
Nice. Sorry.
Yeah, and that then becomes a lot more of an easy investment rather than someone who hasn't really spoken to a supermarket yet, is making a little bit of money but doesn't quite have the contacts. Like, that's a lot harder to sell than something that's already out there starting to get established. That's why you see a lot of these companies that have been going around for a long time then start to get snapped up by first parties because they're a lot less of a risk and they've got a few hits in the bag already.
Jumping back through the comments, Mimsy says they can't fix the game. It's getting... Oh, actually, problem the Big Mac has is false advertising. What do you mean? Mimsy says they can't fix the game. It's getting bugged every time. Alan Almazra, actual laser parties happening. They can't finish the game. They sell you unfinished crap. Idea was interesting. It's fun to play, but even optimization is zero, full of bugs. Graphics is zero. Warzone 2 is best COD I ever played, but gets rid of me immediately with crap they can't fix. See, I'm not going to react to that entirely because that's a Discord conversation there. Jump in the Discord, by the way, if you want to have that conversation. Graphics is zero. I disagree entirely. Once again, subjective. Warzone 2 is the best COD I've ever played. I disagree entirely. But once again, subjective. For me, Call of Duty 4 and then Modern Warfare 2 are the best games that I've ever played. Undecided which one I prefer. The new Modern Warfare 2 is actually really good as well, but, you know. There's all sorts of things there, though. Once again, that's size and scale. The bugs and stuff that are in there is because they are delivering something more bigger, more complex, and more open to cheating than other games have as well. So, yeah, we'll talk about that one in Discord. Spike says, Call of Duty is the weight to its name, too. I mean, it's like FIFA, Konami had an arguably better game at one point, but sometimes a name alone will sell your product. 100%. 100%. And it's not even just the name, habit then, because habit gets attributed to a name. People go, should we go to the pub? To the pub is an experience. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go and have a drink. I might go and just chat to my mates, or we might go and just eat some food or whatever. It's not always the same thing, but it's always to the pub. And playing Jump on some COD is that thing for a lot of people. They might... Should we just get COD? Yeah, I get COD every year because I play it with the boys. Even though, actually, I've not played it with the boys for 6 months. But I'm getting it anyway because I play it with the boys. Some people just get into that. I buy COD every year. I buy FIFA every year, and so on. And that comes from the fact that FIFA has been around for... I'll use the round numbers of 30 years. FIFA's been around for 30 years. Call of Duty's been around for 30 years, or whatever. Maybe not all 30 years, but you get the idea. These games have been around for so long that they are ingrained in, and that's where the weight comes from. So saying 10 years is enough time for PlayStation to create a Call of Duty. Okay, 10 years to create it, but then they still need 30 years to seed it so that it becomes something that is mainstream, not just open to people. So yeah, the weight of the name, like Spike said, Bibby mentioned it previously as well, is a huge thing that cannot be bought, or it can for $69 billion if you're Microsoft wanting it from Activision Blizzard, and that's the reason why it costs so much. That's the reason why they want it, and that's the reason why they're putting a lot of effort into making this happen. Blackout was so much fun. It was, but then it died off pretty quickly. Warzone definitely benefited from Blackout. I like DMZ. It's a nice change. DMZ is really fun. I almost opened second weapon slot in DMZ. It forces me to play Room 24 or something, but it opens once in 9 hours. That's stupid. I don't know what that means. Switch Pro's coming out next week. My uncle owns a Nintendo. Kappa. More likely to get effort in an indie game. See, I don't like statements like that. I don't believe that there's developers out there that are not putting the effort in. It's very oversimplifying to say that developers are just not putting the effort in, because there's probably thousands of hours that are just getting put on cutting room floors because of all sorts of
that gets changed for them.
Yeah, and not only that, there's political reasons, there's geopolitical reasons, there's legal reasons, there's ethical things, and all sorts of things that mean that something that you just think, oh, well, that's a really easy idea, just do that, doesn't happen. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that you're more likely to get effort in an indie game. I would say that it's probably easier to visualize the effort that's put into an indie game in terms of developer doing something and you actually seeing it versus it going through layers of bureaucracy and so on. But that's the cost that comes with the weight of the name. To have that weight of the name, you can't just be permanently successful without having red tape and bureaucracy and all sorts of stuff to make sure the PR machine is ticking. That PR machine that makes it so super successful is also what hinders itself. So the weight of the name it's a double-edged sword, definitely. I'll revise that. More likely to get the feeling that effort was put into a game. Psyonix made Rocket League. There you go. Not Polyphonic. More power to FromSoft. I love them the most. Japanese games are not affected by American political views. That's what I like about them. But they are heavily influenced by American political views as well. So Japanese political views, local. So it's just relativity. And now for the music, supersonic, acrobatic, rocket-powered battle cars is playing in my head. Nice. Black Ops 2 is my favourite. Oh, I dropped off. Black Ops didn't catch me. It was all right, but nah. And I have to question why every female looks ugly in COD. Is some kind of political thingy or what? I don't understand that. Once again, subjective. Off to the Winchester, and I'll wait for this to all blow over. Battlefield always had better graphics than COD.
I think they had a better destruction engine as well at one point.
What was it? Like, Frostbite 2.0? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was Battlefield 4 that came out, and they had like skyscrapers like falling down and stuff like that when people hit it with enough rockets and shit.
Levolution is what they called that. Yeah. So before that, they started it with, I think, Frostbite. I want to say 2.0 in Bad Company 2 is where it started. So if you got enough, say, like sticky bombs, and you blew out all the supporting walls, then a building would collapse. And me and my mates used to spend hours doing that, like RPG. And you RPG these bits, I'll sticky them bits, then we'll come back and whoever was the. I can't remember what the classes were now. I'm going to say engineer. It's probably wrong. No, you drop your
engineer,
but whichever one had the resupply stuff, and then everyone runs back and gets more stickies and RPGs, and there's a dude just camped in a window taking shots, and he might kill 5 of your squad in the process of this, like same guy 3 times or whatever, but you eventually do get to destroy the building and watch it just collapse and see his marker up. Yeah, 100%. Battlefield was the best competitor, but that franchise has gone to shit. 100%, Itani, welcome in, by the way, dude. Also, I need to unfollow Itani on Twitter because I've been doing a little bit of working out recently. Not much, just enough to kind of lose the puppy fat, not get hench. But Itani looks absolutely swole at the moment, dude. Bloody hell. So yeah, no, Battlefield definitely was the best competitor, but they took their foot off the gas 100%. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame because they were doing good things too. Like, and I don't know what it was. They were like releasing games, releasing updates. Obviously, not perfect. The last few Battlefield games, particularly the most recent one, have been needing patches, have been needing content, have been needing big advances. But they were trying to do that whilst bringing out Firestorm and things. And yeah, Firestorm didn't quite hit home, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't. Yeah. It was far from perfect, but Blackout wasn't terrible, and it was also far from perfect. They just kind of went, "Oh, we didn't do very well. Let's stop." Whereas Call of Duty went, "Okay, we didn't do very well. Let's make the next one be better and get it out now." And once again, that's the difference, though. That's where Call of Duty. Can you make a better Call of Duty in 10 years? Yes, if you have Sledgehammer and Raven Software and Infinity Ward and Treyarch, 4 different studios all working on the same engine, hand in hand, willing to drop stuff to work on something else as well. If you have 4 developers, then you could probably make a Call of Duty competitor in 10 years. But imagine paying for 4 developers for 10 years just to start to then look to make a profit. Not actually make a profit, just to start to look at making a profit. So we are, we're about 69 billion in the hole. So now let's make some profit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, 2042, I still think is definitely worth people's time. I think they've come a long way with the game that got launched unreleased. Launched unreleased, it's the same fucking thing. But we're a million miles away from those days. It's definitely worth your time. Now, I still think it's a great game right now to play. If you was going to play it, it's a great game. It feels like it's got that Battlefield soul that was absolutely lacking from it when the game first came out. You could definitely have such a good time with Battlefield 2042 in its current state.
#ad.
I wish.
Counter-Strike always had superior gameplay and most realistic shooting, but it looks shit. So you're talking about graphics and things like that. You can't tell me that Counter-Strike looks good or has the greatest animations or so on compared to games that push the envelope. That doesn't mean Counter-Strike's a shit game. Counter-Strike is an amazing game, and its own success shows that. What was it, 1.6 million players concurrently the other day or something?
Yeah.
Badass. Yeah. But that's the thing. It all comes down to subjective. So just because Counter-Strike is great in areas, it fails in others. Same thing with Call of Duty and so on. Different levels of success, obviously, but yeah. Bad Company 1 and 2 use Frostbite 1.5. There you go. I still find it funny when gamers complain about companies trying to make maximum profit. I mean, that's the whole purpose of a gaming company, to make money. 100%. It's just when your views and the games company's views align, that's when we all have a good time, because they're making the thing that we want, and that's making them money, and it's also what we want. Job's good. If they want to make money and it's not what we want, then that's when it's a bit shit. But that's just, I mean, that's where time is the big differentiator. What a company knows is profitable and is the future for gaming might not ring true to us. Like Xbox, yeah, your console can be always on, and if you always have an internet connection to your console, we can do all this cool stuff and update over the air. So I always have to be connected to the internet on my Xbox One. I don't think so. Your console is shit. Fast forward a generation. What you mean? You're trying to tell me to play games on my PlayStation, on my Xbox without an internet connection? No, you're all right. I'd rather have it always on, please. And that's the thing. 100%. I platinumed Bad Company 2. What a guy. Oof. What a guy. How
did that take you?
One of the best games ever. 100%. 100%. Anyway, we'll put a pin in this conversation. Can you make a better Call of Duty in 10 years? Also subjective. You can't answer that question. But I will. No, you can't. No, you cannot. You cannot.
That has staying power anyway.
Yeah. The only way you can do that to get close is to bottle lightning, to put your finger on the pulse of a trend that is gonna be the next successful trend for the next 5 years before anyone else does. But if that was easy, everyone would have the trend. Like nobody expected 7 years ago for the next after that point, for the next 6 years after that, for Epic to be leading the way with multiplayer shooter games. But here we are with Fortnite. Before that, people were kind of half looking forward to Save the Worlds coming out after seeing it announced at E3. I didn't really care about it. I think Bibby is the only person, I mean, we know what Bibby's like playing shit games. I think Bibby is the only person that I know that cared about Fortnite Save the World. Most people that I know hadn't heard about Fortnite until Battle Royale was added on to the end of it. So you can't do that. Bottle lightning before it strikes. Like that's like saying PlayStation. If you want to bottle lightning, just go outside and stand with your jar exactly where lightning's going to strike. How do I know where it's going to strike? Well, I don't know. That's your problem. But you've got 10 years to figure it out. Let's go.
Yeah.
And also they're aiming on new generation, and there's a big gap between what we like and they like. Sometimes they get it on point in terms of what a brand wants and what we want. Epic have been doing that quite a bit, but also Epic have been giving you exactly what you want because they want to make the Epic Game Store a success and so on. So yeah, the online trophies was easy because I was playing it anyway. Thoughts on the new CS logo? Ooh, I haven't seen the new CS logo. I haven't seen it, so I can't give you thoughts on that one. I will have a look, though. Just not right now, because we are rapidly running out of time. I will have a look. Maybe we throw that one in for tomorrow. It makes me think of a shit airsoft company. Well, there you go. It sounds like it's not good.
You know what? I didn't think that, but now it does.
Okay, so if anyone's got the link to that, do feel free to share it. Maybe I'll look at it after I read this article. So if you can get the link to the CS logo, drop it in the chat. For now, we'll talk about this article from Matt Wales at Eurogame that says Respawn opens its third studio as it targets 10 to 15-year lifespan for Apex Legends. Wisconsin team will support the live service game. So Respawn Entertainment has opened a third development studio as part of its plans to make its free-to-play Battle Royale title Apex Legends a 10, 15 years or more franchise. As reported by GRW's Respawn's newest studio, which will operate alongside existing teams in Sherman Oaks, California and Vancouver, British Columbia, is based in Madison, Wisconsin and run by former Epic Games Director of Engine Production, Ryan Burnett. Respawn Wisconsin will predominantly be focused on supporting the development of Apex Legends live series operations, although it may also contribute to other projects in the future. Building the live service of Apex is a constant cycle of trying new things and experimenting, Apex Legends director Stephen Ferreira told GI.biz, and that's what Wisconsin is going to give us. That capacity to do more of that, pushing into a new area like Legend classes and trying to do things we haven't done before. I'm going to stop there for a second. This is actually a really good article to follow on from the last one. Respawn has opened its third studio to make one of its titles have, hopefully, a 10-year lifespan, possibly 15 or more. They've already got 2 EA studios, and they need a third one just to make enough content to make an already established now IP last for 10 years. If EA thinks you need 3 studios just to keep a studio running for 10 years, how many do you need to launch a title at that point in time? Because if 10 years is enough to make a COD killer, does that mean Respawn and Apex will overtake that in 10 years? I don't think it will, but... Anyway, new studio for Apex. Thoughts, Pip?
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect follow-up argument with the article that we've just been through regarding COD, and you just touched on the points there. The fact that this is requiring 3 different studios to be able to work on this game to try and get it over the 10-year mark. Now, let's be honest. I don't think it's going to be Apex Legends in the next 7 years. I think they'll either make a sequel to it or something like that, like they did. Obviously, not like they did, but in regards to like the Overwatch situation, them just nuking the first one and just making Overwatch 2. Same with the likes of Destiny. They're going with Destiny 2 after they've reached what they think is critical mass with the first game. I think this will probably follow the same suit. 10 to 15 years is a hell of a long time for just one IP to run that long. World of Warcraft are struggling for a player base at this moment in time. World of fucking Warcraft, one of the biggest games the world is probably ever going to see. So 15 years is ambitious. I'm guessing 15 years from the point of them launching it, because I think they're like, what, 3.5 years into the lifespan of this game at this moment in time. So for them to reach 10 years will be one heck of a milestone. Do I believe it'll still be around in 7 years' time? Yes, in some capacity. I don't know whether or not it's going to look like it, because the battle royale bubble might end up bursting by then. We had this conversation 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when Fortnite battle royale was starting to peak up. 6 years ago when PUBG started. This fad won't last forever, and we've got infinite amounts of battle royale clones now. Gaming moves on. Whether or not we're still going to be in the Apex Legends universe in 7 years' time, yes, but in some capacity, I think it might end up changing up. I don't think it'll potentially look like a battle royale game anymore. If it does, I think it'll be one aspect of the game. It might end up looking something where they end up doing arena shooters and stuff like that, just to be able to try and bridge the gap and bring in a new player base. Because let's be honest, I mean, I'm talking to you in regards to this. Did you think 6 years ago when you started playing PUBG that you would still be playing PUBG every single day?
No, I did not.
Yeah. I don't. It's the same with me. So with Skyrim, did I think I'll be still playing the same Skyrim game 13 years later, nearly 13 years later? I didn't think so.
But is there another game that does what Skyrim does at the level of Skyrim better?
I don't know, because people, I believe that they influenced a lot of things that you might end up seeing in the likes of Elden Ring, but it's not obviously a direct competitor, because one of them is hard as fuck, and the other one is Skyrim. So I believe that they had a big enough influence, but like for like, I don't believe so. But I imagine people will probably think differently, and obviously that's their opinion.
I mean, like, Respawn having a third studio to work on Apex Legends, I feel that's par for the course of that style of game. Like, Apex Legends is not... So, Itani's mentioned in the chat, look at CS, though. Barely gets any content and survives over 10 years. Not only that, but it's still growing. CSGO released 2012, broke its all-time player number last week. Yeah, 1.6 million.
They didn't know that was going to be the case, though.
But that's the thing there, though, is that is... It's a skill-based game, and that's not that Apex Legends isn't. Like that's like a hair movement of your mouse is the difference between winning and losing, and that's where the beauty of that game comes in. It's so the detail is so macro that it's so large as well. Like such minute functions within the game are what make that game so big and so amazing. Whereas Apex Legends is completely different. It's not about the movement of your triggers or so on. It's about the content. It's about the world. It's about that Titanfall universe and the lore and the narrative and so on. So it's completely different horses for courses. Whilst they are both shooters, one of them is built around continuing environments that evolve and change, whereas the other one is built around the same key principles that are just so simplistic and don't need tweaking. It's like rock, paper, scissors, whatever you call it, wherever you're from. 1, 2, 3, jobs are good, and that's it. You've got 3 different options: win, lose, or draw. Jobs are good, and that's it. There is no way of, like, if you start to make that bit better or worse, there's a reason people still play that a bajillion years later, because it's super simplistic. I mean, obviously it's a bit of a flawed analogy, but it's the beauty of the simplicity of it that makes it attractive. And that's the reason why CSGO is untouchable, because the mechanics of it. Well, I say untouchable. Obviously, you've got the likes of Valorant and stuff now that are trying to bring the legend sort of version to it, but it's the mechanics of it that are beautiful. But even then, things like Valorant and stuff where you start adding legends in, you add more an extra level. You've got the characters and the floors and DLCs and all sorts of other options, but those other options come with the expectation. Yeah. If you've exhausted all of that content in that DSC, you need to then replace that and refresh that to keep the users engaged. Whereas you go back down a level and you've only got precision perfect shooters, then people go, okay, well, I've got all I need. I've had it for 10 years. It's great. I know this is a good old-fashioned take your shirt off, go outside, and man versus man sort of like bravado sort of thing. It's that sort of, obviously, not just men, by the way, but it's that sort of animalistic me versus you in a fight to the death. That's all they've bottled that feeling. Whereas Apex Legends and stuff, it's that, but with all this other stuff as well that they can sell you. But all of that other stuff that they can sell you then has extra.
Yeah.
Extra.
I believe though that there is another thing that goes on with this. So, and this feeds directly into the Call of Duty thing as well. Is that these games not predominantly made for esports, but ones that lend themselves to esports. There is no way that anyone could have predicted that 62,000 people were going to be watching a CS:GO event. No one could have predicted that. But every single year it gets bigger and bigger because of the simplicity of the game, but the extreme levels you need to go to be able to be a master at it. The esports scene for CS:GO is outrageous. The depth that they go to, if we're talking about grassroots esports, that is the game to look at. From the top to the bottom, it is rife with outstanding teams. There is a lot of toxicity in there as well, obviously, because it's a high-profile esports game. But if you can get past it and swim through all the shit, you get to the absolute cream, and that is what CS:GO are putting on Twitch. 62,000 people watching your esports event. Are you fucking mad? That is ridiculous.
It's
the
no weight that comes with the name as well. So go back to the Call of Duty story that I had previously. It's been doing that for 10 years. It's such a simplistic design that has been kept pure, and then they've just built on that. They've gone, okay, we don't need to make this too convoluted. It'll drop off. Don't get me wrong. Counter-Strike hasn't just been like, okay, CSGO for the last 10 years has been smash. It'll be like, yeah, great game. And then it drops off. And then it comes back and then it drops off. And then that thing the other week where 1.6 million people started playing it again, way, and then it'll drop off again. But that's just because, other games come along. A new Call of Duty releases and people stop playing CSGO and so on. But then we get a major finals and then it comes back. But that's because it keeps to its core product and delivers it well. But then it has the weight of the name of doing that for 10 years and having 62,000 people. Like, if Bibby was in a Discord chat with all his mates watching that final and seeing, oh my God, fucking a collat to finish, clutch, you didn't even realize, blah, 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 whatever, fucking high five, that's a learned behaviour there for Bibby that when next year, and it's the CSGO majors again, Bibby's like, oh, well, I'm definitely watching that. Nice. And then the year after and year after. And that's the history and the emotive attachment that comes to a game that has been successful for a long period of time. So saying make a successful game is ridiculously hard, but then making a successful game and keeping it a successful game for many years afterwards it's tenfold as hard. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very difficult. But that explains why Apex needs to add a third studio, and it's good to see as well. To see there was an Apex Legends mobile game that was canned. To see that whilst pulling back in the industry, as EA has been, as Twitch has been, Hasbro, Microsoft, all these other brands that we covered yesterday, it's good to see that Apex are expanding back out and adding more to that. So it's not just a reduction of the industry. It's more of a streamlining and a focused growth, which is good to see. Gary's Mod still relatively strong as well, and that released in 2006. Never played Gary's Mod. Legends. Oh, thanks, mate. I'm assuming that's in reference to me and Bib and not the typo in the in the title. Did I type that or did I copy that out? Oh no, I must have typed that bit because it's not in the article. Nice. Okay, next article is from Tom Ivan at VGC, and it says Netflix says it has 40 more game releases lined up for 2023, including Ubisoft's Mighty Quest, Rogue Palace, and a new Too Hot to Handle game. So Netflix has said it's planning to release another 40 games in 2020. Can you hear Milo barking, by the way?
Yes, ever so slightly.
Little fucker. Don't know what he's doing. He's clearly just playing with his toy. But anyway,
his best life.
Netflix, it's because I've got rid of my noise suppressor. So the noise suppressor means you hear things like Milo barking, but then you also lose things like me laughing. So it just is what it is. So Netflix has said it's planning to release another 40 games in 2023, taking its offering to 95 by the end of the year. The company began offering Netflix subscribers access to a library of mobile games through the Android and iOS versions of its app in late 2021. In an update on Monday, Netflix said it currently has 16 first-party games in development and a further 70 in the works with third-party studios. Quote, this year, we're going to continue building our portfolio, and that means new games every month, Leanne Loom, Netflix's vice president of external games, wrote in a blog. Members will discover indie darlings, award-winning hits, RPGs, narrative adventures, puzzle games, and everything in between. And we're working with the world's leading studios to bring you these games. End quote. The second of 3 Ubisoft exclusives coming to Netflix, Mighty Quest Rogue Palace, will be released on April the 18th. Ubisoft released Valiant Hearts coming home in January, and is also working with Netflix on an Assassin's Creed mobile game and an Assassin's Creed TV universe. Shut the fuck up, dog! Netflix has also announced that a sequel to one of its most played games, Too Hot to Handle, Love is a Game, is in development at Nanobit and is planned for release later this year. Okay, I'll stop there. We don't need to go into the intricacies of the games, because I imagine if I don't know what they are, a lot of you guys probably don't know what they are. But still, Netflix is adding 40 new games before the end of 2023. Thoughts, Pip?
Great for them. Obviously, it's something that I think they probably needed to try and get into, to try and not keep Netflix afloat. And I think, are Netflix too big to fail? I'm not too sure. But to get into the gaming space as well, I haven't heard much from the gaming space of Netflix since we ended up covering it maybe 2 years ago now. So it's been a long time since they've put the wheels in motion, but I don't know what this is going to consist of. 40 games seems like a lot, but I imagine they'll just be bringing other games to the platform rather than just creating them themselves. But yeah, good luck to them.
Sorry, I was muted then, so that you couldn't hear Marlo barking away. How can a small dog be so loud, says David. It's just, he's a big dog in a little dog's body. That's what it is. I haven't played one Netflix game, lol. Same. I mean, if this is what it's going to be, if this is what they feel the mission statement is, I feel like we're talking, the whole show so far has been about the weight of a name and PlayStation needing Call of Duty as a system seller. Is Mighty Quest Rogue Palace a system seller for anyone? I'm not sure it is. If anyone doesn't know what...
this is aimed at us, is it?
No.
The Netflix target market, I don't think it's aimed at us.
Well, this is the game. I've got the video playing within the article. There's an embedded video within the article. It doesn't look bad, don't get me wrong. It's some really cool animation, really cool artwork. Obviously, it's not showing any gameplay. It's just a video trailer for it. But... Yeah. I mean, fair dues, Netflix. Fair dues. Netflix is a big name, just not in games. It is, and that's the thing, though. Netflix is a big name in content creation. But over the last few years, they've had quite a lot of misses as well. Like Red Notice, or whatever it was called, the Ryan Reynolds and The Rock film. They wanted to do absolute bits, and it was all right. Then there was that... What was it? Army of the Dead or whatever it was called. That was the zombie film. That was like one of the most...
Was it?
Yeah, one of the most expensive films ever made. And it was all right. It's like, okay, great. We've got Red Notice. We've got Army of the Dead. Then there was that other Ryan Reynolds one where there was him and a kid in a spaceship. I've forgotten a lot about it. That shows how great it was. But it was not a bad film. It was all right. But it was all right. And that's the thing. So Netflix have made a lot of all right content. They have bangers like Stranger Things, obviously. But they need to diversify, because if their TV content starts failing, they can then rely on their video game content. If they have video game content and TV content, then that's more opportunities for advertising, which brings more revenue. And obviously more content means more chances to put up the... subscriptions up and so on, and that's what they want to do. They need more cash injection, so to put more in to get you to pay more, or for more ways to advertise to you and so on, is what they're looking to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing more games. As long as good content comes, like I said, more games. I'm in the same boat as Itani. I haven't actually played one and don't plan to play any Netflix games, although I don't plan to not play them either. I just need to see something good. If it's just games for the ability of putting the pricing up, then don't bother. Just save yourself the cash and save me some cash. If it's games that are going to be good, then that's interesting. And we'll see. No doubt the early adopters, the mobile game players, will let us know, and then we might get some sort of breakout success. But if it's just money spinners, money churners, and stuff like that, nah, you're all right. It's not for me. Should focus on actually releasing good shows. Exactly. Red Notice. There we go. I'm pretty sure I said that, but yes, nice. The only Netflix game I've played is trying to cancel the free subscription before they start charging for it. I liked it. It was him and past him. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it, like, I'm not saying it was bad. It was all right. It was probably better than all right. It was good. I've just I have forgotten a bit about it, but I remember at the time thinking, okay, that was a good watch. But yeah, it was supposed to have been badass. I've been caught out by Amazon twice. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Tell you who else knows what they're doing. Anyone that can get a nuke in COD. Nice cheesy tangent in there. And if you can do that, then get yourself some free drinks. As Josh Coulson at The Gamer, as our final article of the day, it says, this bar gives free drinks if you can get a Warzone 2 nuke. Clever marketing or an elaborate ploy by the bar owner to have an endless stream of people grind their battle pass? ? Imagine that. Just fucking offering free drinks out for people that can get a nuke. And just get yourself to level whatever it is on the battle pass. Let's go. So getting the nuke in Warzone 2.0 isn't easy, and detonating it is even harder. There's a bar in Rome, Italy, whose owners believe that achieving the feat is so difficult, if you manage to do it while playing Warzone in the bar, you'll drink for free, presumably for the rest of your stay in the establishment. Clips of players trying their hand at getting and then setting off the nuke with fellow patrons watching on, and perhaps a little intoxicated themselves in some instances, have been going viral across social media platforms. As you can see in the clip below, courtesy of Mike and Salvo on TikTok and shared by Deserto, the player attempting to deploy the nuke is being watched very closely. Nice. Pop-ups. Great. Sign up to the newsletter and this, that, and the other. Nukes have been a core feature in Call of Duty for years, usually requiring players to achieve an almost unimaginable kill streak in order to unlock them. They work a little differently in Warzone 2. You'll first need to win 5 matches in a row, something very few people will be capable of doing right off the bat. You'll then need to start the Champions Quest, build the nuke, and defend it until it explodes. The win 5 matches prerequisite is where there appears to have been a little confusion regarding what exactly will get you free drinks in the Italian bar featured above. Another video taken inside the watering hole claims all you need to do to get free drinks for the night is register a solo win. Perhaps that was the first hurdle the bar owners put in place, and it was quickly changed after word got around and Warzone pros were drinking their poor bar dry. Making the target for free drinks a nuke instead of a win is a wise move, if that is indeed what has happened. Warzone 2's nuke is so rare that when it was rumoured to exist at launch, most people didn't believe it was real. Those people were proved wrong when someone managed to get their hands on one and set it off 3 days later. Shout out to the likes of Gargod. I'm pretty sure he's had like 16 nukes or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more now. Disgusting. Imagine fucking 5 wins and then getting... imagine how gutted you'd be, though, getting the 5 wins, deploying the nuke, and getting almost to the point of it going off, and then getting Goddamn. Ah, no! There's an Alo Tusuk in the chat. Alo Tusuk. Yolo Tusuk? Nice. Anyway, babe, would you
yes.
try a dabble at getting a nuke for some free drinks?
Absolutely not. I'm terrible at Call of Duty, at any Call of Duty game. And to be fair, most first-person shooters, I'm terrible. So the likelihood of me getting a nuke is extremely low. However, I love this, like Pixel Bar in Manchester and stuff like that. Like they have people streams on in the bar. So whether or not it's a podcast, well, the chances are it'd be pretty boring if it was a podcast that was being placed on the screens, unless it's ours, obviously. But they have people streams on there that are obviously playing games, which I think is amazing. So having a console where people can go in, have one go, potentially get a nuke. I mean, it's 20 minutes away from your mates and stuff like that. You've probably gone in there to have a drink with, but having all the people around you watching you with a noise cancelling headset on, trying to get a nuke, that'd be fucking awesome. But that's just that interests me as a 32-year-old bloke. Going to clubs and stuff like that, it's never interested me. I've only tolerated it because I go out with the wife to do it or whatever, and that's what she loves to do. But going to a pub to play video games and talk about video games or whatever it is, that's definitely more me. I'd love to be able to see that stuff and just be able to get behind people, fucking cheer them on and shit like that, doing stuff that I'd never be able to do anyway.
Yeah, imagine fucking 300 drunk people stood around you going, "Rah!"
You'd feel like a rock star, wouldn't you?
The thing is, though, is like there's all sorts of things that people don't often think about that come into play this. Like, are you playing with your Astro A40 headset on your nice controller that's fully molded to your hand sweat? Or are you playing with a sweaty controller that's been touched by tons of other people and like a Tech Gear or whatever, like some brand that's named like that. Yeah, exactly. Like headset, and it's like, was that footsteps in the game, or is that just people? What is that? So you're hampered by all that stuff. You're probably playing it on a TV screen, not a monitor. So you've got obviously your latency and so on. So anyone that does manage to get a Nuke in a bar using just general stuff that's on display, then GG's. I would love to see that. I would love to be able to do that, but I probably wouldn't try because of all of that reasoning. So yeah, there's a new game in Power and Stockport as well. Wonder if they'll have similar stuff happen. I mean,
what's that called?
Margaret.
No, I know the Blossom Singer frontman. He's opened his own bar up. I don't think he's the kind of guy that will be opening up a video game bar, though. So yeah, let me know what that is, because I'd be very interested to go down and having a look around.
So whilst we figure that out, we'll wrap things up. For those of you that have just dropped in, though,
fucking useless Iceman. Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
So the reminder of the news: there is 10 years of 10 years is enough to make a Call of Duty competitor. That's according to Microsoft. PlayStation probably feels different. That was the first news article. We then jumped into Respawn opening its third studio as it hopes to expand Apex Legends' lifespan for 10 to 15 years. We then spoke about Netflix releasing 40 new games in 2023, and a bar is giving out free drinks if you can get Warzone 2 Nuke. Nice. I've only seen it.
Glitch.
I've only seen it twice and not been in Stockport for a few weeks. Came back right at the right time. I see exactly. JMK says glitch ? There you go. There you go. Everyone's googling it for you. Nice. Free Stusty. We'll get there in a sec. We are going to wrap things up. Thank you everyone that has dropped in. Do feel free to join us tonight. I believe tonight myself and the Triggermeister will be chasing core rates with mates. Every other week, we do some crates chasings. I haven't actually confirmed that with Code Red, but I'm assuming that's the plan for tonight. We'll be chasing some core rates with mates from half 6 till half 8. So jump in as us and the core boys do some terribly sorry. Yeah, that's where that emote came from. If you've seen that emote floating around Twitch, sorry, that came from the games 2 weeks ago. So do feel free to join us and see if we can get any more sorry moments. That will be from about half 6 till about half 8 tonight. And then we'll jump in with the regular crowd after that. We will be back 10 a.m. tomorrow with another episode of The Scoop. So do feel free to join us if you can't join us tonight. But before any of that happens, Mr. Bibb, is there what you'd like to add?
Yes. Thank you very much to each and every one of you that have joined us for today's episode of The Scoop. That's 3 down. There's still 2 more to go. So if you want to help shape the 2 remaining shows, there is 2 ways you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord. If you're watching this in any of our on-demand services, go into the description below. All the links that you require will be listed there, but all we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions live from the studio tomorrow. At what time, though, Mr. Graham Day?
Don't know.
Who even knows anymore? Ish.
10 a.m. ish. We'll aim for 10 a.m. and then it'll be ish. So we'll see. But yeah, do feel free to join us for that. For now, though, do join us for a raid as we're going to drop in on one of our friends. It'd be nice to pass on a little bit of love. So stick around for the raid, and until next time, we will see. No, stay.
Okay.
Fuck that up. Fuck that up. Stay Frosty. See Frosty. Stay Frosty.
Frosty.
Fucking Frosty.